Hello water polo fans, welcome to the Sydney Super League quarter final. Third place Cronulla Sharks versus sixth place UNSW Wests. My name is Nick Watkins and I have the absolute pleasure of being on the mic for you all this evening. My usual partner in crime, Lulu Gaither, is actually in the pool playing for Cronulla, so you're going to be stuck with my dulcet tones for the rest of the evening. And I do apologise in advance. My toddler has brought home a plethora of daycare germs and I'm a little bit nasally, so may turn into Kermit the Frog later on, but I'll give it a crack. And we're definitely shaping up for a very interesting game of water polo this evening. It's the second quarter final, the previous match being played by Brisbane Vikings and Drummoyne Devils, with the Devils walking away with a 2-goal victory. It was pretty close for the first half. 7 apiece going into half time, but the Devils managing to edge in front slowly, and by the fourth quarter taking a relatively commanding lead. In this evening's match, Cronulla will be looking to carry on their excellent form from both Super League and National League, where they currently sit at the top of the table. And UNSW West's not too far behind, managing to sneak in for the final series for the Super League in the last match of the last round and cementing their place in the AWL finals as well, finishing at 6th. Coming to you live from the very impressive facilities at St Catherine's School in Waverley, and one of the rare indoor matches that you'll see across Sydney. Probably a little bit more reliable than playing at Dawn Fraser or Gunnamatta, but some of the die-hard salties would say nowhere near as fun. I'm going to do the best to give you player statistic updates throughout the match. We have had a little bit of a technical difficulty with our live stream in the facility. It's built like a concrete bunker, so my hotspot isn't working, and I'd managed to piggyback on the swim school's Wi-Fi up until about 15 minutes ago, when they turned off the lights, closed the door to the office. So nonetheless, I'll do my best to give you updates of player statistics, and we'll reassess what we know and what we can discuss as the game commences. Referees have signalled a couple minutes. Teams are having their last little chat. Coach Daniel Trent for West's eager, first year in his head coach role, first year at the club after being a Sydney Uni stalwart for a number of years. And Coach Dusan Kristic, former Serbian, moved to Australia probably 20 years ago. Feels like 20 years ago. Actually lived with me for his first year in Australia, so it's been really nice watching him progress from a player to a coach. He made his way to Sydney University after his first stint at Cronulla, had a fair bit of success, moved out west, and now he's back home in the blue. I assume we would have had an overlay of the team lists already, but whilst we're waiting for UNSW to line up, for UNSW, number 1, Alicia Winstanley. Number 2, Minty Welsh. Number 3, Madison Powles. Number 4, Sienna McNamara. Number 5, Rachel Carver. Number 6, Georgia Milne. Number 7, Rachel Burgess. Number 8, Talia Penny. Number 9, Gemma Harding. Number 10, Nikki Collins. Number 11, Charlie Porter. Number 12, Hayley Ballasty. And number 13, Lilia Ogg. And the referees have blown their whistle, so we do the Cronulla lineup at quarter time. And it's a barnstorming start from Maddie Bergeron for Cronulla. Strong left-hander. And she passes off the balls out top with Emma Putt. The referees have called for a stoppage of play already. Looks like maybe they started the game player short for UNSW Wests. So I will give you an update when I know a little bit more. I'm stuck in this plush commentary position. Big, thick leather armchair, plenty of leather-bound books behind me. And I can't see the referees having a conversation. They are mic'd up this evening, as has been the case for Super League and AWL for the last couple of seasons. Very fancy technology from when I started playing. We had tin cans on a string back then. Coach Daniel Trent gesticulating to referee Connor Davis, asking a question. How can you start the game early if we don't have a full field? And referee Davis agrees. So players are sent back for an extra swim. Nothing like a little bit of fitness this late in the season. And if you're relatively new to water polo, or you can't keep up with all of the rule changes that World Aquatics put out every 15 minutes, this is a relatively standard one. It's been around for many, many a moon. While it is the coach's responsibility to make sure they have enough players during the game, referees can't start or restart after a goal unless both teams have the requisite number of players. So we'll go again. And this swim off is won by Ali Davis-Loomis, another left-hander for Cronulla. Madison Berggren not too fussed about getting the swim win on her stat sheet. And we'll see what Cronulla can do. They've got Danny Jakovic in at centre forward, which is going to be a real handful for Wests. And you would anticipate they probably have to play a zone as they are now. As the ball's out top to Maddie Berggren, passes it to Emma Putt. Emma Putt sits up nice high, bar down, and unable to be converted. So Wynne Stanley comes up on top that time and throws a big long ball to Minty Welch here. And it's a really good chase from Jade Vincent getting back there and positioning herself between the goal and the attacking player. We'll come back to that one after this play and have a bit more of a chat as the balls move around the perimeter back to Welch. Welch out top to Carver. Carver back to Welch. They're looking for the centre forward. They've brought in two have Wests, but not much doing. And you can see their ball passed in, but Madison Berggren's long arms manages to get around. And Porter unable to do much at centre forward. So Cronulla come up with the ball. And they have a little bit of a counter-attack here, which is broken down, which will suit Cronulla. They've got really powerful centre forwards and some really dangerous outside shooters. As you can see, excellent ball in from Emma Putt there to Abby Simshauser. And a quick play not called by the referees. It looked like it might have gone in. It was a quick post pop to Abby Simshauser, but didn't cross the line. The whole ball does need to go past the line. And the referee's determining that didn't happen. So it's play on. As Welsh fouled quite heavily out top. She's on her own halfway, looking for something to happen at centre forward. But Simshauser for the Sharks back in zone. And now the ball's caught out at Balesti as she tries to play the driver. Wasn't the worst decision, but the pass wasn't where it needed to be. And so Berggren comes up with the goal with the ball. And now the Sharks are counter-attacking once again. Ali Loomis-Davis out top with the ball. Plays deep wing to Emma Putt. Emma will be looking for the centre forward there. But excellent work by Wynne Stanley. Sees it coming a mile off. Steps out of goals and prevents Jakovic from getting the ball. It was a good idea by Cronulla Sharks, playing to their strengths, and they did really well to get the ball deep, but possibly a little bit premeditated. And it's a challenge for teams that have superstars like the Sharks and Jakovic, sometimes a little bit too reliant on these players. But a strong shot outside by West comes off the cage. And so Cronulla pushing this counter-attack. Simshauser here. You'll back her to shoot this. And that's the first time I've seen Simshauser throw a lob. She's got a very hard, good shot, very quick off the hand. And she apologises to the bench with a raised hand, probably knowing she had time. So the ball is West's. And it's Balesti on the left-hand side of the field. Pressed quite heavily, looking for that driving centre forward, which is Minty Welsh. And now Porter posting up. Pass in. Really well defended there by Jade Vincent. Two hands up, pushing out the centre forward. But Abby Simshauser gets caught off the wing in the zone. And very fortunate for Durston in goals. The second goalkeeper, the frame, manages to block the shot. Now the Sharks have got a counter-attack here with Berggren. And Berggren tries her own little cross-cage lob. You see both teams at the moment rushing their attack a little bit. That was still 14 seconds left on the clock. The Sharks had called a flying sub, so they were playing down 5-on-6 in attack. So Berggren may be aware of that, but I've got the sense that there's a little bit of desperation from both teams. We haven't had any goals yet, so there's been a fair bit of swimming. And we are very late in what is a grueling season. We've had an exclusion here, Jade Vinson, being turfed for being too grabby with Harding. And so Carver takes it into deep wing. It's out top to Porter. Porter out top to Milne. Milne, little pass in between both of the players. Manages to get it back, and a lovely shot off the hand there. Claire Durston a little bit frustrated in goals, the Australian squad member. That's a tough one for the goalkeeper. She would have been relying on her teammates to block that cross-cage shot. And so both teams taking an opportunity to call a couple subs. And Cronulla will be hoping that they can slow the play down a lot more here. They've got fantastic outside shooters, really strong centre forwards, and they haven't been using the full 30. Very similar story for West, sometimes choosing not necessarily the best option and definitely too early on in the piece as the ball's out top to Putt. Putt moves around to Berggren. Berggren back to Putt. Putt down to the wing. This is Ash Ryder. Ash Ryder caught in two minds there, unsure if she was cross-cage lob or throwing it down the line, and lobs it straight over the middle of the goals. But does well to get on and cover, and that's what you want to see from your young players. If things don't go your way, the first thing you need to do is get back and defend. Kicking a long way out. Emma Putt has completely bullied the centre forward, well out of position here. And so they'll be reliant on Porto sitting there, but quite well marked by Berggren. Now you can see Djakovic dropping back to help. There's only 8 seconds left on the clock. So Harding will need to take it in, and she's a long way out to back herself against Durston. And it hits the post, easily regathered by Berggren. So really nice defence there from Cronulla. Excellent play from Emma Putt at centre back, pushing the centre forward. And West unable to get their second centre in. And they're punished for it. Emma Putt sees Djakovic driving to centre forward. She had a lot of space, did Djakovic. And all Putt had to do was sit up. There's no defender on her out the perimeter. Get the ball to Djakovic. And she chooses to score. The referees could have called a 5 if she'd missed. But Danny doesn't need it. Now she's swimming over to the sideline for a little bit of a breather. Tate Headley coming on for her. The ball's fouled out top. That's Payne. Payne on Harding. Payne doing a great job pushing Harding way back now. That's eaten 12 seconds off the clock. As Headley's almost turned there by Powles. And Powles forcing the pass in there to Milne. New Zealand import for UNSW Wests. But pass goes a little bit skimmy out of the way. And now Cronulla has a break here if they choose to use it. Emma Putt moving in here. And she pushes it wide. So she did have time. She was covered. But possibly a little bit of fatigue setting in. She's played the whole first quarter and there's been a lot of swimming. Only 1-1. There's the ball out top to Milne. There's no centre forward for West at the moment. Penny's driven in. Marked by Payne. That's Carver fouled out on the wing by Ryder. It looks like we've got an exclusion at centre back here on Nell Payne, number 3 for Cronulla. A little bit too heavy from behind on Talia Penny, and Penny does well to earn an exclusion. We'll see what West can do with this player up. As Milne balks it in, it was only 2 passes in that whole attack, and it's something that we saw in the Drummoyne Vikings game earlier. Both teams failing to move the ball around the perimeter. If you fail to move the ball, you fail to move the defence. And then it becomes a pretty easy job for the blockers or the goalkeeper. And with Australian goalkeeper Claire Durston in goals for the Sharks, UNSW West will want to work on that throughout the game. There's a good pass in there from Berggren. Manages it to get it to Emma Putt, who, despite having 1.5 players on her back, manages to get out to her ankles, buried over the top of Wyn Stanley in goals. That takes Cronulla's lead 2 goals up. And now Emma's coming to the sideline for a spell. And Lulu Gaither, my usual commentary partner, finds herself in the pool. along with Ali Davis-Loomis. So this is Milne moving it up for Wests. You'll expect to see a little bit more movement from Wests as this quarter winds down. Cronulla have been doing a pretty solid job at taking out that centre forward. And you can see here, ball getting caught down with McNamara on the side of the pool. Now, if you're relatively new to polo, you don't necessarily want the right-handers shooting from the right-hand side of the pool, and likewise left-handers on the left. It just takes out their angle. But an offensive called against Lulu Gaither here. Looked like she was pushing off Penny for Wests. And then in transition exclusion against Ella Fraser. And it's been a bit of a recurring problem for the Sharks this season with these midfield exclusions. Even if it is a turnover, you don't want to get into a tangle and leave your teammates short up the other end. Far better to cover and make them shoot through you. West have got 6 seconds left, 5 seconds left on this. Cross pass, lovely shot, bar down. I believe that was number 5, Carver. And far better extra attack there from UNSW West. They took their time, they moved the ball around the perimeter. And you saw they managed to offset the defence to the far right. And then Carver popping out on that post and getting a lovely shot down the line off the hand. With 10 seconds left, it's 2 goals apiece, and West will be absolutely delighted if they can go into quarter time even with the Sharks. The Sharks able to earn a quick exclusion. They've only got 8 seconds left on the clock, so they'll have to be quick here, Cronulla. Ball moves around to Payne. Payne back out to Loomis. Loomis looking. Referee's calling for the whistle. Can't quite see what's happening at the moment. It looks like the clock hasn't started. So referees have called for the ball. And we wait with bated breath. As mentioned, the referees are mic'd up, so they're communicating with one another. It looks like the clock was late to start, so we've wound it down a second. Oh, goodness gracious, that was unlucky for Cronulla there, and caught napping a little bit were Wests. Only 2 seconds left. You knew that the shot was coming, or a quick pull-on pass from the post. But Gaither unable to get it past Winstanley there. And we're heading into the end of the first quarter at 2 goals apiece. Probably a little bit rushed from both teams, you'd say. The first half of that quarter, both teams were having a shot or a 50-50 pass with 10, 12, 15 seconds left on the shot clock. Maybe a little bit of quarterfinal nerves. Maybe seeing some opportunities that weren't quite there. We anticipate that Coach Christick will be saying to his team, we just need to slow it down. We've got the size at centre. We have the outside shooters when we move it. Let's be a bit more patient and controlled. Daniel Trent will be saying to his West team, when we move, we're good. We're getting a little bit caught out with our centre forwards, so a lot more movement from the perimeter. Let's put a few drives in. Cronulla have been caught quite heavy in defence with their hands down, and they've been penalised for it with a couple of early exclusions. Cronulla Sharks are top of the table for the Australian Water Polo League, having won 16 out of 18 games. And coming into Super League finals, they are third with only 3 losses as well. So you might not be able to hear it on camera, but Coach Christick is somewhat animated in his corner. Very out of character for him, one would say. Just about to get underway. Cronulla Sharks moving to line up, and Daniel Trent having a couple of extra words with his team, really milking this quarter time break for every moment he can. We've mentioned a couple times it's been a grueling season for all players. Slightly different format to both the AWL and the Super League over the last couple of years, with AWL being played every second week and Super League taking those in between. It's resulted in a really strong competition for the Super League. We've had teams from Queensland, Singapore, and New Zealand participating. But it does mean that sometimes the players are getting up to 8 or 9 games in as little as 2 weeks. So every second counts. And referee Davis blows the whistle for the start of this second quarter. And that's won by Cronulla. Ali Davis-Loomis, that's her second swim-off win. The ball's out tight with putt. So no centre forward for Cronulla at the moment. They're waiting for Djakovic to come in. But Putt sees an opening. She did manage to balk into 4.5 metres. But a really wonderful stave there by Wyn Stanley. Top corner, tip out. Cronulla gets the ball for another 18 seconds. And you can see here that they're playing a zone off the wing, which really puts a lot of pressure on Vincent out there to shoot through a tight angle. She chooses to pass it back out top. Ball to Putt. Long pass to Ali Davis. Heavy foul over the top. Simshauser sits up, but she's inside 5 metres. Unable to shoot if you are fouled inside the 5. And so, even though it was saved, it was also blown a turnover. West have got a break here as the ball moves down to Porter, but no one driving through. So counter-attack breaks down. Porter fouled, and she just waits for a team to reset. Carver with the ball. Moves it around to Bolesti. Bolesti back to Carver. All over the West centre forward. Number 9, that's Harding. Harding is getting out of the water, showing that she's... So, Cronulla have the ball in attack. Ali Davis-Loomis. Cross pass to Putt. Plenty of space for the perimeter out top here as they're playing the zone back onto Djakovic. Simshauser and Davis will look to move it around, and you'd expect Simshauser to probably shoot this one off the hand. Excellent job. That's that one extra pass that coaches are always looking for. West looked like they'd zoned in on Simshauser. She had offset, which meant sliding away from the ball, trying to open up a channel. West were switched onto it, but they weren't expecting her to throw that long pass back to Berggren on the wing. And Berggren manages to convert, so that takes Cronulla up 3-2. We've got an early exclusion here from number 11, Jade Vincent. So that was on the perimeter. Referee signalling too heavy a foul with 2 hands. And Vincent will be disappointed with that. It's a really easy exclusion to give away. And right call from the referee. If it's 2-hand heavy foul, you'll just hope to see that consistently for the rest of the game. As the clocks run down, 10 seconds left. Forced to have a shot out top, but it goes over the cage. Claire Durston not needing to move an arm. And Cronulla pushing up in their attack now. West have done a really good job to break down this counter-attack. It doesn't look like there's too much of a break. But the ball gets out to that right wing, Ali Loomis. And she gets the ball into Djakovic, and that is an easy exclusion for her. Bolesti sent to the naughty corner. That was a pretty heavy foul herself. And Ali Davis-Loomis will look to bring it in here. Called inside the 2, Sophie Hankin, number 6 for Cronulla. That has been yet another recurring problem for the Sharks this season. We've seen it happen a lot from the younger players. Hankin quite experienced, but she makes up for it there by copping a stray foot by Carver. So another midfield turnover / exclusion in this game. And Coach Kristrick for the Cronulla Sharks calls a timeout, looking to resettle his team a little bit. If you're relatively new to water polo, players aren't allowed to be inside the 2 metres. That's that red cone close to the goal line, unless they have the ball or the ball is also in with them. To further complicate things, World Aquatics have changed the rules for the 912th time this week. And one of the newer variations means that you can be inside the 2 if you're more than 2 metres away from the goal. So you'll see a red buoy or flag on the rope on the goal line that signals the 2 metres. If you're outside of that, you can be within. But in that last extra man or extra player for Cronulla, Sophie Hankin getting caught inside that too. And the next time they have player advantage, Cronulla will be hoping to keep an eye on things. They reset here. We'll find out if Coach Christick's chat was a specific set play or if he's just calling it to settle his team down a little bit. You can see they've offset here. Quick pop pass to Jakovic. Jakovic cross, cage, turn, and goal. Really well worked by Cronulla. Abby Simshauser on the wing, waited for Jakovic to drive through. Pass from out top. They knew what was happening. And it takes Cronulla's lead 4-2. That's what the Cronulla bench will be wanting to see. A lot more patience and awareness. Absolutely need to work towards their strengths, Jakovic being one of them, but not being too reliant on it. They're a strong team here. Pretty even goal-scoring ability across the board. As the ball's out top. Moves around to left wing. West have sent in 2 centre forwards here, but unable to get front water, so Burgess is caught, stuck a little bit out of position. And now it's good position in the centre for Porter. They'll be looking to get this in. Emma Putt sitting slightly back off that right-hander on the right wing. That's Carver. And horrible angle for her, so she can't pass. Ball comes back out to Burgess. Sophie Hankin streaming up the right-hand side of the pool. There's a little bit of a break in the middle and probably a long cross pass to Putt if she can see her. But really good defence there from Minty Welsh until she gets herself kicked out. So that's yet another case of the commentator's curse. I've been doing it all season and I apologise to the Welsh family if you're watching at home. I thought she did a really good job to steam back there and then got a little bit too grabby after the foul. So she'll have an 18-second breather and Cronulla will look to capitalise on this player advantage. Big long cross pass to Simshauser, back out the top to Putt. Putt has a shot, but pulled down again by Winstanley. She's having a great game, picking off some really nice shots from the Cronulla team out top. And definitely keeping the Wests in the competition. She feeds the ball up the side to Madison Powles. Powles, former Shark. A couple of former Sharks in on this West team. Manages to throw the ball up to Porter. Porter had a bit more time than she probably thought. Half beat Durston, caught the inside edge of her arm, but it got deflected off the crossbar yet again. Possibly Cronulla's best player this game so far is that cross cage. So Bergeron manages to get it up far side to Simshauser. Out top to Putt. No centre forward at the moment. Hankin's sitting there. Jakovic is caught out top. Plays Putt. She'll be looking for that second centre forward. Chooses to shoot over the line. And the goal frame changes teams. Helps out Winstanley in the cage. And so up we go again for another swim. Quite a few players on both teams huffing and puffing like the big bad wolf at the moment. And so you'll expect after this next goal a number of subs to be called as Bergeron takes the ball up. She bobbled it a little bit, almost made a meal, but managed to get that break. Nice big cross pass to Putt. And excellent awareness. She could have shot that. Saw Danny Jakovic. Plenty of space in the middle. Cross pass and nothing Winstanley can do there. That's unfortunate. Well read, well stolen by Bergeron. And Cronulla's lead stretches out to 3. With both teams calling a number of substitutes now. With some red faces and heavy breathing going on. Cronulla have no doubt taken inspiration from Coach Christick's animated quarter-time team talk. Controlling the ball more, not necessarily slowing things down, but just making smarter decisions. As we'll have a good battle in here with Penny centre forward against Ash Ryder. Ash Ryder finding it a bit of a handful. She's calling a zone from the wing. That's Tate Headley. So Headley leaving Powles there. It's a left-hander position, so a bit dangerous to leave that. But it's working so well for the Sharks at the moment. As West play a second driving centre forward, that was Sienna McNamara. And unlucky there. She did really well to drive, spin, and get strong position against Ella Fraser. But Cronulla defence just a little bit too schmick. And regather the ball, and they've got another counter-attack here if they can feed it cross-cage. A lovely long pass. Probably needed to be off the hand a little bit there. That was Nell Payne, but the rebound comes in Cronulla's favour with Ash Ryder getting a hand on those bickies. And the ball's back out top to Abby Simshauser. Abby's been a fair bit of danger for defending teams this season. And she's able to get it past Winstanley there. Nice little bounce into the top right corner. And that takes Cronulla's lead to 4 goals. We're now at 6-2 with 2 minutes 33 to go in the second quarter. Ball on the right-hand side to Porter. She chooses to switch it up a little bit. This is the first time that West have started playing that left-hand side of the pool, but back it comes anyway. And over again it goes. That's Bolesti. Bolesti back out top to Harding. Harding looking for the centre. They've got 2 in there, but Nell Payne doing a great job to push Powell's out. And Ash Ryder equally up to the task against Penny in that instance, forcing the shot. Nothing doing, and Cronulla now get to push up and attack. West will need to be careful of Cronulla's counter-attacks now. They've had 3 or 4 in a row that have come off, or at least resulted in an extra. And that could be because they're getting caught out in attack, Wests, or getting a little bit tired. And we've had an exclusion there for McNamara, incidental contact with the head. Nothing malicious about it, just unfortunate. Hankin takes the ball into the right wing. Cronulla player are up for the next 7 seconds. Big cross pass back to Hankin, but it's tipped quite nicely there by Bolesti. And the player advantage is probably wasted here. Clock runs down. Simshauser shot after the beep anyway. So even if she could sneak it past Winstanley, it wouldn't have counted. And McNamara rejoins her teammates, gathering the ball on the right-hand side of the field, giving Simshauser plenty of time to zone back. Ella Fraser's doing a pretty good job to push the centre forward out here. She's stuck on about 4 or 5 metres. So West choosing to drive a second one. That was Harding playing in centre forward, but ball intercepted there by Ash Ryder. She's fast as lightning, one of the quickest swimmers in the competition, and she chooses to offload it there. Tate Headley caught with the ball and tries to throw a little pass for a pull-on for Ash Ryder, but Ash being caught with the push-off. Just a little bit too obvious for referee Davis. So the offensive is called and no harm done to the scoreboard. We've only got 37 seconds left to go in this half, and both teams look like they're ready for a break. It's taken West 20 seconds to get set up here. There's only 8 left on the clock. And that was really well read by Abby Simshauser there. And Charlie Porter either caught pulling her back, or Simshauser doing a great job applying for her nomination for the Oscars. But the referees have been calling that pretty fairly all season. They don't like these midfield transitions. They don't like these midfield kickouts. And as a defender, you've just got to roll onto your back, get your hands up and show no foul. 3 seconds left. And that was a disappointing rushed finish for the player advantage there for the Cronulla team. They haven't been looking overly composed or comfortable with their extra attack. And wondering if they're just rushing it a little bit. So as we head into halftime, Cronulla Sharks relatively comfortable lead here, 6-2. And it's been a pretty tough ask for the UNSW West centre forwards against Cronulla. They started off the game playing a second driving centre forward and were rewarded with a couple of kickouts early on. But certainly in the last half of that second quarter, Cronulla looked like they had the West centre forwards number a little bit. Changing up their zone drop a little, choosing to come in off the 3 position, which is the right-hand wing. So that's the winger on the right-hand side of the pool. Confusingly often played by left-handers. But by choosing to zone from there, it really puts the pressure on UNSW, even if you are a left-hander, to either shoot down the line on a tight angle against a very talented goalkeeper Claire Durston, or to move it back around top. And as a result, it's been eating into West's shot clock, causing a couple of desperate shots from out top or lofty passes over the top, and we saw quite a few intercepts for the Cronulla defence. However, not everything's going Cronulla's way. There've been a number of occasions in attack where they've forced the ball to either the centre forward when it wasn't on, or the passing around perimeter hasn't been tight enough. We saw at the end of that quarter extra attack where the ball was way too high, way too long, and it really throws off the momentum. The whole objective of player up is to capitalise on that extra player. And to do so, you need to move the ball swiftly, crisply around the perimeter, make the defence get tired, make them adjust, offset, and then you can start to throw cutout passes, bring on the post, and get a shot off the hand. When the passing isn't tight and it goes too far, it gives the defence time to readjust, and that's almost definitely something that Coach Christick will be talking to his ladies about this half. Just polish. Yes, they're up 4 goals, but they really want to work on the basics leading into the semi-finals tomorrow, and if they're lucky enough to play the finals on Sunday afternoon. And then I was going to say, and more importantly, but maybe not, maybe just as importantly, the AWL finals the following week at Sydney Olympic Park. If you're just joining us, this is the second half of the quarter-final. 3rd position Cronulla Sharks versus 6th position UNSW Wests. My name is Nick Watkins, and we're just about to get underway for the 3rd quarter. Ball's won there by Jade Vincent for Cronulla Sharks. That makes it 3 from 3 for Cronulla. Technically 4 from 4, though the first quarter started too early and we had to redo the swim-off as the ball's out top with Berggren. Berggren looking for the driving centre forward. Moves it down to Ali Davis-Loomis. Passes it back out top for Berggren. They do have Jakovic posting up at centre forward. There's a lot of space there if they can get the ball in. And that's an exclusion by Harding. Really well worked by Cronulla. Super early lob by Madison Berggren then. She obviously saw something she liked. She did manage to catch the inside of the frame. And that's one of those situations where if it comes off, you go, good awareness, way to back yourself. And if it doesn't, teammates are probably saying, slow things down. Let's not rush. They are up by 4. However, player up attack hasn't worked too well for Cronulla this half, and so maybe Berggren thought, I'm on, I can see something, let's try something new. Nonetheless, really well defended by Cronulla. Once again, running the West's clock down entirely and forcing a dump, throwing the ball away to give their team a chance to get back and defend. And that's probably something that Coach Trent spoke to his ladies about at half-time. Cronulla were starting to get a number of breaks there. Wowza. Dani Jakovic. She basically throws that to the 2 metre. She popped up and said, whoopsie. Maybe trying a little bit too hard. You'd usually back her to score from there. Front water, a couple metres out, no one in front of her but the goalie. But Winstanley obviously too intimidating that time. And so West will set up for attack. And they managed to get the ball in. That's really unlucky. Porter had great position, but the pass just skimmed over the top of her arm. And Vincent, like a seagull on a hot chip, picks that one up, throws it back to Durston and says, thank you very much. Ball up to Simshauser. Plenty of room on the other side. Gets a great pass to Jakovic. Plenty of front water there. That's the second time in as many attacks that Jakovic has managed to get front water through a drive. If you're interested, keep an eye on her when she's coming into the centre forward. She doesn't always come in from the top, chooses to come in from the side of the perimeter. She's fast, she's strong, and I wouldn't be surprised if there was a little bit of a pull around there. It only needs to be for half a second. But you get that ball side drive and then those passes, they just need to go to your hand. Great defence there by Abby Simshauser, showing no foul, but an excellent drive in. I think that was Milne from Drummoyne earning the exclusion. That's Emma Putt sent to the naughty corner. And West looking to move it to the right-hand side. That's out top to Welsh. Welsh looking to bring on Harding. Harding pops it across. to Balesti, and that was extremely well worked. That's what we've been talking about this whole game, making sure that you move the ball, let the perimeter players offset, which is shifting one side or another, and it forces all of the defenders to overcommit. So you can see in that instance, Balesti sits on the 2 metres, then pops out. Cronulla defenders being forced to hit the attack out top. And an easy pass, plenty of space, and too hard for Durston. Scores 7-3 Cronulla's way, so still plenty of breathing room for Cronulla, but they'll want to tighten up some of their plays. The last couple have been good. Working extra man, working that centre forward. Player up, apologies. And a wayward shot gets easily defended. And now Cronulla are excluded. That's number 12, Abby Simshauser. I think that might be her second for the game. So West now have an opportunity with an extra player. But they do have to travel the whole length of the pool. So that's 15 seconds eaten already. Ball moves down to deep wing. That's Powell's. Powell's out top to Carver. Carver back to Harding. And once again, that's the exact same play we saw before. Ball goes to the right-hand wing, which is position 4. Top player's offset. And that 2-post pops out. Receives the ball from out top. They're already sitting on the 3.5 metres. So UNSW West managing to edge it back, capitalising on these player-up attacks, where Cronulla has missed out on those opportunities a little bit. Ball out top with Ali Davis. Passes it to Putt. Putt over to Berggren. Back out to Davis. Out top to Jakovic. Feeds the ball to Hankin, but there are a number of defenders back there, and Hankin is called ball under. I know that always kills centre forwards when there's a plethora of players defending them. Quite often it is actually the defender taking it under, but referees more or less play the advantage for the defence, rewarding good work in the zone. And Emma Putt doing an excellent job here, holding Harding well and truly out of position at centre forward. Unfortunately, Milne caught with the ball inside her own half, forced to do a lobby dump again. So Durston, a rare opportunity to go for a swim. She might need a asthma puffer after swimming 6 metres. The goalkeeper out of the comfort zone. Ball moves across to Berggren. Back across to Putt. Berggren out top. She's got plenty of space, but plenty of time as well. So Cronulla look to slow it down, get the ball into Jakovic. She does manage to get a shot away, but McNamara in great position, and our referees have called for the ball here. Okay, so they've called that it is West's ball. It might have been an accidental whistle, so rather than confusing the teams, called for the ball, reset expectations, get the game back underway. Powell's with the ball. She's a long way out for the wing. She's caught on 6 metres, but plenty of space, gets it into Welsh, and Welsh gets an exclusion on Berggren. It's a tough one there. There wasn't a lot happening in attack, but Berggren sitting directly behind the centre forward. Ball comes in directly in front. The relatively new, within the last couple of years, interpretation of the rules says that's got to be an exclusion. So West get the extra attack. Harding forces the shot from out top. It's easily deflected, but regathered. And West team a little bit confused, kicking away here. Lost that player advantage. Cronulla are now even. And a good drive by Welsh there. And another drive on the far side by Milne. So Hankins sent to the corner. And a quick shot. Number 5, Rachel Carver. Bounce top left. Cronulla hadn't even had time to set up their player down defence. And that brings us back within 2. 7-5. 3 minutes to go in this third quarter, so plenty of time for both teams to make something of it. I feel like the momentum slightly shifted a little bit in favour of Wests. Cronulla are looking dangerous, they're just not converting up in attack. A lot of balls coming in, shots getting away. Wyn Stanley's been really strong in goals. And you can see clock running down here, 5 seconds. shot, yet another crossbar, but Cronulla manages to regather. And so they'll have 18 seconds left. Simshauser sits up nice and strong. She was close. She was 3 metres out, but there were 3 defenders and a goalie back there. So another tough example. You flip a coin in those situations. You are close. You've got plenty of space behind you. But you're 2 goals up. There's 2 minutes to go. Sometimes it's better to really be patient, use the whole attack, and then if you need to, have that shot in the last couple of seconds. Instead, West managed to pull it down. And we've had an exclusion against Ella Fraser. I think that might be her second for the game too. I don't have the stat sheet in front of me. And interesting here, you've now got Madison Powers playing in what's typically a right-handed spot. And good save there from Durston. Quick shot off the hand from Burgess. And the bounce goes in favour of Cronulla. Ella Fraser back on now. Ball deep wing to Simshauser. Easy cross pass to Jakovic. Young players out there, or my men's 5th grade, because you still haven't learned, that's exactly what you want to see in counter-attack. You want to push the ball up the wing, get it inside the 2 metres, and that means the second and third breaks up the field can push up closely. And if that first break manages to get front water like Jakovic did there, it's an easy pass over the goal face. And an easy goal of 5 metre every time. So really good awareness from Simshauser there. Great goal by Jakovic. She'll be happy to convert that after she missed the last one directly in front. And Cronulla's leads back out to 3. You see a lot more movement from West in this quarter. It's exactly what we spoke about at half time. They are struggling to hold centre forward for the duration of an attack, but they're getting a lot of exclusions and causing a fair bit of mischief with those outside drives. And nothing able to happen at the end of that attack for West, but they won't be too disappointed. They were covered quite well, and they've managed to take out that counter-attack that was working Cronulla's favour quite a while. Bergeron with the ball deep wing. Back out top to Putt. Putt manages to get it in quickly to Jakovic, who turns and buries it straight over Winstanley's head. That's great awareness from Cronulla. Pass to Putt, back to Bergeron, back to Putt. And just that one extra play means that they were able to shift the defence. Jakovic be able to get her position a little bit stronger. The ball came in. And the Australian Olympian far too strong in that situation. No need to have the 5 metre, converts it herself. Just under a minute to go, Cronulla's leads back out to 4. It's now 9-5. Headley having a good wrestle at centre back here against Penny. Headley in dominant position now, fronted and watching the ball. No foul shown by Simshauser. She manages to steal the ball. She's got a break here. She has to go back and get it. So there'll be one attack for Cronulla. Plenty of time if they can wear down the clock. As Vincent passes back out to Simshauser. Out to Bergeron. Cross pass to Putt. Over to Vincent. Lost her angle that has Vincent, so calm and composed, slows things down. Putt manages a quick little drive. Bit of conversation here between the players and the referees. It looked like it was an exclusion. Vincent thought she'd played it to Putt. Putt thought that she could convert, but the referees were signalling that Cronulla hadn't actually played the ball. How it managed to get to Putt, I'm not quite sure, but that's neither here nor there. So Bergeron will take it in on the right wing, offset to Simshauser. Pressing Putt out top now, which forces Vincent to come back around, and they're rushing between the top 2. Vincent has a nice shot, cross cage, bounced out. Bergeron passes it back to Vincent. It would have been a great opportunity to shoot off the hand, but pass going again a little bit too high. So Vincent dumps the ball. And the clock runs out in the third quarter. That last play replicating the final one of the second quarter, with Cronulla unable to capitalise on the player up opportunity. And they definitely haven't been looking as polished in tonight's game when they've been afforded an extra attack. I'm wondering if it's a little bit of nerves as we come into final series, or a little bit of fatigue. Nonetheless, they're back in a relatively commanding position as we enter the final quarter. But West have shown that they can claw back this lead quite easily and quite quickly. They've been very effective with their drives. At the start of that third quarter, extremely well handled player up attack, converting 2 or 3 back to back. Coach Daniel Trent will be hoping that his ladies have got enough juice left in the tank to keep driving. It is catching Cronulla a little bit off guard as some heavy bodies and heavy hands are getting caught low, and a number of exclusions starting to build up on the scorecard. For Cronulla, what is working well, when they do manage to move it around the perimeter, they play that one extra pass, getting some lovely balls into the centre forward. And they are earning quite a few exclusions, just not capitalising on that player up advantage. This fourth quarter will be just as much about holding or extending the lead as it will be about tightening up some of these aspects of their game. We do have semi-finals tomorrow, and then grand finals Sunday, and then 4 days of finals for the Australian Water Polo League next week. We're just about to get underway for the fourth quarter. I am Nick Watkins. I'm your sole commentator today. My usual partner in crime, Lulu Gaitho, in the pool for Cronulla. It's a tough job managing the live streaming, the statistics, the player scorecard, my coffee, my banana, which I dropped, and calling the game. But I hope I'm doing all right. I apologise for the nasalness. My toddler brought home a few germs from daycare, so it might sound like Kermit the Frog's on the mic. But I'll do my best as Berggren sits up out top. Headley sitting at centre forward now. Back to Berggren. Payne driving in at that second centre forward. Ball down to Fraser on the wing. West doing a really good job here in this zone defence. Nothing happening around the perimeter. A little bit too slow to move the ball. Berggren caught out top there by Bolesti. So she's a long way out. And it doesn't matter, Nick, she says. Once again, the commentator's curse creeping in. West had done a really good job that defence. They'd stifled the movement. They'd wound down the clock. There was nothing happening at centre forward. And Berggren sits up from about 10 metres. Right post in. It's 10-5 for Cronulla. A commanding lead, but certainly not one that they can sit back and relax on just yet. West did manage to score a few back-to-back in that last quarter. And with that ball coming into Simshauser, she's excluded. It was always going to happen. She was caught directly behind. I think it was Porter there. And so, ball in. Caught behind the centre forward. You're going to be sent to the corner for a bit of a spell, but Cronulla manages to regather it. Unfortunate for West, their extra attack was really strong in that third quarter, managing to bring on their post players with a really strong offset. But failing to do that there, and now Cronulla are in a really good position. The ball gets in from Berggren to Headley, and a 5 metres earned. Great heads-up play from Berggren there. She saw which side Headley had driven to. Equally good play from Headley. She saw the ball was going to the right side. She chose to drive, so she was between her defender and the ball, and that meant as soon as it came in, it was a guaranteed penalty. Jakovic will set up here. A few metres out from where she normally shoots, the centre forward. We'll see if she can keep this one in the frame. Easy done. Bottom right. Relatively quick shot off the hand. She didn't take her time to come out of the water. Big, strong, powerful player is Jakovic. And not enough time for Winstanley to react. Cronulla's lead stretches out to 6. It's 11-5. There's just under 7 minutes to go in this fourth quarter. And a few more spiles starting to spread across the Cronulla players as they're talking to one another in defence. Ball fouled out top at Carver. Carver looks to move it to the wing. That's McNamara on the wing. Ball out top. Fouled quite heavy is Welsh. Welsh gets it into Milne. She's looking for the centre forward, but Cronulla are playing a 3-back. West perimeter players caught a little bit far out, forced to have that shot from out top, and while they were covered, they sent it too high. So it's an easy ask of Claire Durston. She pushes it straight up the middle to Payne. Payne gets it over to the right wing to Berggren. Berggren to Fraser. Fraser's got plenty of space here, tries to turn. Looked at Sophie Hankin in at centre forward, but saw Minty Welsh for West dropping back. So chooses to spin out. Cronulla resets. Berggren. Long pass to Ryder. Back to Berggren. Back to Ryder. 10 seconds left on the clock here. Still plenty of time for Cronulla to move it and possibly look at centre forward. Clock runs down. Ryder has the shot and it's tipped by Winstanley. She'll be slightly disappointed. Let out a squawk of disapproval. That was going over, so probably could have let it go. Instead, it's a Cronulla corner. Fraser throws it to Berggren, over to Jakovic. Cronulla driving a second centre forward, now clearing out. West are crowding that middle position for Hankin. They still manage to get her the ball. Hankin turns, really strong shot. And Winstanley, excellent job covering that donut shot. If Hankin managed to put it to either side of the goals, I think it was almost guaranteed. But great ball in, great turn and shot, great save. And Cronulla will have another bite at the cherry here. Ball's out to Berggren. Slightly sloppy pass over to Payne, back to Berggren. Payne drives in, looking to clear out that drop. All over the Fraser. Fraser's got heaps of space, tries to wrap it around, hits the crossbar again. We've seen a lot of crossbar action this game, and the referee's just called an exclusion for a midfield pick out. That's on Hankin. So West will have player upper advantage here. And Coach Trent calls a timeout so his girls can have an opportunity for a bit of a breather and possibly a bit of a set play. And Coach Christick not too thrilled with his Cronulla players. I mentioned a few times this game that those midfield kickouts in transition have been a challenge for the girls. And it's a real coach killer. Sometimes you can get tangled up. There's certainly a lot of attackers that are cutting back in, sticking their bodies in your face, trying to make it look like you're pulling it back, but they can't do anything from halfway. And coach is always asking those players to roll on your back, show the referee your hands, let them have that half-metre break, trust your teammates. You can always chase them down later. Instead, Hankin getting caught with her hands down, whether she was doing something or not. She's sent to the corner. And West will have an opportunity to practice their extra attack here. Some of our loyal viewers might be wondering why call a timeout. It's 5 minutes to go, 6 goals. Maybe too big of an ask. Well, Coach Trent isn't that much of a defeatist. He's always positive, and that's exactly why. Milne managing to balk it in, skipping it cross cage, and another defender's not there. The other reason for the timeout is quite likely because there are AWL finals coming next week, and with the format of AWL, Australian Water Polo League, and the Super League this year, there's not a lot of opportunity for structured training sessions. So every opportunity to practice your extra is very much appreciated by the coach. So we'll see what Cronulla can do here to bite back. They are still in the lead by 5 as Loomis and Payne moving the ball out top, out left wing to Ryder. Ryder sits in, does a great job to sit up and feed the ball to Jakovic. And Jakovic, an absolute handful in at centre forward. And earning an exclusion. That's Carver. She was all over her like a barnacle on a boat, and the referees weren't having a bar of it, so they sent it to the bin. And that's what you want to see if you're a Cronulla fan. Far better movement, crisp passes, looking to bring on that post. And Jakovic, after a few little misfires earlier on in the game, puts that one straight past Winstanley. Not that it's the goalkeeper's fault, that's a really tough ask. She's busy watching the ball move around the perimeter, hoping that her defenders are able to keep an eye on that post, and not this time. So we creep back out to a 6-goal lead, 12-6 to Cronulla. It was very close in the first half. Really well played by Wests early on, putting the pressure on Cronulla, throwing out their rhythm a little bit. Cronulla was shooting really early in the attack, throwing some 50-50 balls, but they managed to stay composed. And despite their player up attack not necessarily being as tight as Coach Kristic would like, they've certainly been able to capitalise on enough. It's Claire Durston feeds Payne straight up the middle. Long pass over to Lulu Gaither there. And that's a beautiful pop pass over the top to Ash Ryder. That's one of my favourite goals to see. Someone streaming up the right-hand side of the pool, gets deep inside the 2 metres, counter-attack on the far side, lofty pass over the face of the goals, and easy conversion for Ryder. So great play by Lulu, and well done from Ryder following in her teammate. It's now 13-6. There's 4 minutes 20 to go in this quarterfinal match against Cronulla, who finished 3rd on the ladder, and UNSW West, who finished 6th. Long pass over to Collins there. Haven't seen much of Collins this game, so good opportunity to get some game time as Penny's posting up at centre forward, and Gaither desperately asking for a drop from Ali Davis-Loomis. But the clock runs down, and Minty Welsh forced to dump it so that her teammates can get back in cover. So another really good defence by the Cronulla Sharks as the ball moves up the left side of the pool to Vincent. Vincent spreads it back over to Gaither. Gaither moving back into 2, waiting for teammates to drive. Ash Ryder moving through, ball out to Ali Davis-Loomis. Back to Jade Vincent, feeds it into Hankin. Hankin manages to flick it back out. Back to Davis. And Ash Ryder was calling for it on the far side. She'd done well to sneak around, but Davis-Loomis not interested. Backs herself and manages to shoot around the corner there, straight down the line, past her defender, taking Cronulla's goal count to 14. They're definitely the team to beat, this Cronulla women's team, both Super League and AWL. They finished 3rd in Super League, but with only 3 losses, and finished top of the table in the AWL, which can sometimes be a good thing. Sometimes it puts a bit of pressure on. And it'll be interesting to see how the next 2 days of Super League finals pan out, and then leading into AWL. Ball out top with Powles here, not much happening in the middle, so she's forced to shoot from outside. And what a shot it was. It looked like a bar down. I think it might have clipped the top edge of Durston's arm and been sent there, but doesn't matter how it got back there. It did. And that's a goal. And it's 14-7. Just over 3 minutes to go in this 4th quarter. Ball out top with Payne. Payne to Davis-Loomis. Got Hankin in at centre forward. She's been holding good position, forcing these West players to zone and opening up the outside shooters. Ball goes across to Gaither. Deep wing. Pass it back out top to Loomis. Over to Ryder. Down to Payne. Passes too high. And skims over the top of Payne's fingers. You can see frustrated look on her face. Easy defence for Wynne Stanley in goals. Moves it up to Burgess. Burgess back out top to Penny. Big long cross pass over the top to Og. And she tried to feed the driving centre. That was Powles going in there, but Durston able to come out and pick her pocket. And so Cronulla's ball with Gaither swimming up the right-hand side of the pool. She's got Hankin in there early. She manages to get it through. And unfortunately, Hankin being caught, not quite able to turn. Collins, who did a good job at centre-back there, and certainly helped by Og. And where Hankin had flicked it out previously, she tried to turn and shoot, lost control of the ball. And the defenders are rewarded for a really nice piece of teamwork. The clock's winding down. Got Burgess sitting there with the ball herself. Looks into Penny. And some calls from the UNSW bench. I thought that might have been an exclusion. Ash Ryder was caught behind. It looked like her hand was over Penny's shoulder. Penny was trying to step out for the ball. But the referees saw something else let them play on. And now Cronulla has a counter-attack. And that's an exclusion, well earned by Hankin there. Good pass in from Gaither, good awareness. And pretty lucky rebound. Ali Davis-Loomis saw Hankin on. The pass was there, but she threw it very low. Hankin was out to her togs. And had to bend down to get it. Threw it straight at Winstanley, but lucky enough to get the rebound. And then not much the defenders could do. Hitting from behind, so Ali Davis-Loomis will sit up. Left-hander here. And really well read by Winstanley. She started moving right as soon as Davis came out of the water. Not sure if it was premeditated or she saw something, but managed to get a wrist to it, into the crossbar and regathered. So Collins out top. Moves it to wing this Burgess. Burgess tries her luck with a very deep cross-cage lob. Something Matthew Schweihofer would have a crack at. But unable to get it past Claire Durston. The siren's gone off, but that's an accidental trigger. There's 40 seconds left of the game clock and 24 seconds left of the shot clock. So Gaither moves it inside the 2. Passes it back out top to Ryder. Still 15 seconds for Cronulla here. They'll look like they'll probably try and wind the clock down. No point forcing the shot too early. And Payne does have a good shot. It's well tipped by Winstanley. And with that, Cronulla will get an extra 18 seconds as the corner throw comes in. And with 24 seconds left on the game clock, you would think that Cronulla will run this down. So they only have to defend for a moment. 15 seconds left. Ball out with Davis. Back to Payne. Back to Davis. Back to Payne. And Payne manages to sneak it past a few tired arms of defenders. And with the help of a ricochet, manages to get a goal of her own on the scorecard. The score is now 15-7 to Cronulla. There is 7.9 seconds left. So they've sent the goalie up. They're going to flood the 2-metre zone. See if they can claw down this deficit by 1. They throw it back to Powers, who's well past halfway. And a big, long, optimistic lob takes us to the end of the game. So that's Cronulla's win, 15-7. It was probably expected from both teams. Cronulla has been the one to beat in both AWL and very commanding gameplay in Super League this season, but West had a really good crack, especially in the first half. They kept it pretty close and managed to rattle some of the traditional Cronulla composure. That's all of our games for tonight. Thank you so much for joining us. My name's been Nick Watkins. If you've liked what you've heard, let Water Polo New South Wales know. And if you haven't enjoyed it, well, pass that feedback on too. And hopefully next time I'll have a co-host so you're not stuck with me the whole game. Don't forget we've got more games, the semi-finals for Super League tomorrow. Men's and women's second and third grade finals, so plenty to watch on the Water Polo New South Wales socials. But until then, thanks for joining us.